Yeah, so Greenland, obviously, there's loads of challenges in Greenland, but one that sticks in my mind is we've nearly broken the back of the whole expedition, mega tired, mega hungry, and we just needed to navigate the western sort of crevasse field just to get off the ice. By this time, Ant had sort of a really sore frostbitten nose, and I was snowblind in one eye, so I had my right eye completely patched over.
Like Captain Pugwash.
Like Captain Pugwash with a big beard. And we had got sort of into the heart of this sort of icefall crevasse field area, and we were starting to lose light. And Ant was navigating because of my eye situation, and we both made a decision that we're going to push through the night and we're going to get it cracked and get onto dry land that evening. So I find myself trying to navigate a crevasse field half blind in the dark. Ant is like 100 or 200 metres ahead of me with the head torch. And I couldn't be any closer to him because the light was so painful on my eye. And I sort of said, you were navigating through it, weren't you?
Yeah, so I was like it was fair. Like we knew, like if we kind of misjudged where we were, there was some big old drops and big old crevasses. Even though there was some fairly big ones where we were, like it got a lot worse if we kind of miscalculated it. So we were going through this area called the Icefall, and it's like it's hard to explain, but it was basically like just huge chunks of ice, like the size of a house, and like they're just all over, and you're trying to navigate through them, trying to find like little alleys through them or little bits through them, and there's crevasses here, there and everywhere, and sometimes like you're just having to kind of climb up these massive blocks of ice, and then there's these massive drops the other side.
So then your pulks come screaming down, and
you're trying to navigate with your pulks. So like we were in crampons at this point. Like the skis were long gone by this point. They were just back on the pulk, and there was a real horrible bit that I'd kind of like got along, and my pulks had pulled me down, and there was this big old drop down into this horrible looking crevasse below, and so I'd like set myself up, pulled the pulks back up, managed to secure myself, and like was moving along from the edge, and like I just waited for Louis, and as he came I was like, mate, this is a dodgy bit, it's just pulled my pulks in, so like try and square yourself away. And
yeah, I had a fair warning, you know, but I think I was just exhausted, and you know, with the one eye situation, I basically misjudged where the ice sheared off, and I put my foot down with the pulk above me instead of the pulks first. So if the pulks came down, they'd basically sweep me off my feet and take me into the crevasse. But where I misjudged it using my left eye, I basically took a wrong step, and that caused me to slip. And one of the pulks,
they like jackknifed. I remember watching. They kind of jackknifed. They just pull, like they set you off your feet off, and then when one fell, you just
pulled me back. And I just remember thinking, because I didn't know how deep the drop was, you know, I know what crevasses are like because we'd seen some really punchy ones, and I didn't know what was down there. All I remember was one of the first pulk going down and thinking I'm not going to be able to hold the second one. By that time the second one jerked, and then I was just like, that's me, I'm going down a crevasse. And then I felt the harness jerk and off I went, and I don't remember anything else.
Yeah, so by that point, like I was like, oh dear, and then like I heard him land, like, so I kind of realised it wasn't as bad as it could have been, because it was all black, like we couldn't we obviously all the ice and everything everywhere, and I like looked down and I just seen him just like that, and I was like, oh dear, like shouting, and then he was just like, I was like, Louis, and then he was like, how did I get down here, mate? Like just mega, like, how did I get down here, mate? I was like, oh, you fell.
And it was just so lucky that it was almost like a sort of ice cliff into like this river waterway, almost like a scoop, and then that came up a little bit and went down into a deeper drop. So I'd like fallen basically onto like this riverway ledge, and where the river had been there before, or some water had been there before, it created an air pocket. So when I landed, all the ice shattered and it knocked me unconscious. But because of the air pocket between the sort of thick ice and the top ice, it almost sort of cushioned my fall.
Yeah.
Because if that was the solid ice, I would have had a brain injury minimum, and if it wasn't the ledge, I could have well gone down into a full blown abyss. So I kind of just remember waking up feeling really cold and confused as to what was going on. And then
so I set some ice screws up, and I came down and like we got the bolts, pulled the bolts up, and like Louis got like kind of stood up and looked at me, and he was like, "Was I wearing a Bergen?" What? He's like, "Yeah, where's my Bergen?" Like, mate, we haven't had a Bergen for this whole trip. And he's like, "Oh."
Yeah, I just had this real feeling that I'd left my Bergen down in this crevasse. And you know, I kept nagging Ant to go back, need to go back and get it, mate. And I remember him just saying, "Yeah, we'll go, mate, we'll go. Let's just get to the end, let's just finish the expedition, then we'll go back and get it." And I was just sort of like, "Yeah, all right, mate," sort of following him. And then a few hours later, we made it to the end, didn't we?
That was like one of them, like, and I think a lot of people could probably say they've been in that situation where, like, we probably should have set up camp that night and pushed in the morning, but like it was like. I think it was like 5 kilometres, but 5 kilometres over really technical, really horrible terrain, and like we should have just called it that night and just gone for gone for doing it in daylight. But like we're fairly stubborn, and like when we could sense after doing like 650 odd K, we knew there was only 5 kilometres left to do. We should have, you know,
we both made the choice though to go for it, you know, and it was just one of those things. But yeah, I hope I never find myself going through a crevasse field, snowblind, in the dark ever again. Basically, that's the lesson I learned from that one.
Yeah, I hope I never have to go through a crevasse field with a snowblind person again. Because it's, quite emotional.
Not ideal.
No.